Eagles' newly acquired cornerback Greedy Williams spoke to the media yesterday about the role he's willing to play to help the team win. And free agency grades are out. Did Howie make a terrible mistake like he did in 2017? Or has he learned from past experience? But first, let's run it. Josh Davis here, and a happy Wednesday. You know what that means. Live show tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern with Thomas Mott on Thomas's channel. Be sure to check it out. We'll have live Q&A on everything to cover, and make sure to like and subscribe. If you're not already, please make sure to subscribe so you're up to date on all the latest news, all the content that we have, so much more to come throughout the many days and weeks and months of the offseason leading up all the way to the regular season. So make sure to subscribe. Greedy Williams spoke to the media yesterday. So for the first time, we got to hear from one of the signings that Howie went and got. It's gone along this theme of signing players with a low risk, high reward type of mentality. And we finally got to hear from Greedy.
And now I'm an Eagle.
Have you thought about potentially playing with Slay and James Bradbury and what that might mean to you to play with veterans like that?
Yeah, just my first time being on the veterans, with years under their belt. So, they definitely can, teach you a couple of things, just by being a pro. It don't always got to be about football, just by being a pro and, how to maintain in this league.
Speaking of meeting people, what was your first initial reaction with the defensive coordinator, Sean Desai, and how'd that go, and what you guys talk about?
We talked about a little ball, so, man, it was excited. He a great guy. I'm ready to work with him. I know his first year coming in, so we both going to have a fresh start, and, I'm excited, man. And what he was saying, y'all should be looking forward to a great defense.
How have you gotten through some of those rocky moments in your career?
Prayer, family with great support, and it happens. It's just in the game, and but I'm past that, man. I'm excited. I think I feel good. Everything just a refresh and a restart. So excited just to fit where I fit in well at, and the great people and the people. Like I said, it's a winning culture. They compete. And that's what I want to be a part of. That's who I am. And, that's kind of where I came from. So that's all I know. I like that question. So, man, rest in peace to my aunt. She passed away in 2022. She gave me the name Greedy. Young age, 6 months. She said I was drinking a lot of milk. And, she just came up with Greedy Didi. But my mom just left the Didi off, and it's been Greedy since.
Is that what everyone calls you?
Everyone, yeah.
Do you think that fits for a cornerback in the NFL, to be sort of greedy?
Yeah, you got to get them picks, man. So that's what we pushing for, keep that name alive and, make plays and, make the fans happy, make everybody happy. Slay was like somewhat like a mentor almost coming out of pre-draft. I talked to him and, things like that. So, he reached out.
What kind of things did he mentor you on?
Just, the draft process and how it go and things like that. So, we kind of chopped it up for a quick, 30, 40 seconds. It wasn't that long, but I listened to what he told me.
How'd you guys get connected?
How we stay connected? Just following through social media. We both play the same position, SEC, corner, so, it run hand in hand. So it's always looking out for each other, man.
Did you have a chance to talk to him since then, since you guys signed?
Yeah, I DM'd him. I said, they hit me. He said, come. I said, all right, bet, I'm coming.
Anybody else contacted from the Eagles?
Well, I hit AJ and told him, bro, I'm coming. Let's get it then, brother. So I'm here. I know they're excited. I'm excited. It's a great field, man.
He's excited. I'm excited. I love this. Again, you talk about the relationships, and I think people forget sometimes. Greedy Williams played in the SEC, and he played against A.J. Brown. He played against A.J. Brown, but they know each other. There's obviously some chemistry, and they're excited about playing together. But also, I think it speaks to, like I mentioned in the open, this is a guy that's had some injury issues. We know that, but he's excited, and he sees his best football is ahead of him. He's only 25 years old, too, so it's not unrealistic to think that that's possible, and he does have many years to play. And like he alluded alluded to in the interview there, he knows he's going to get to play and learn from Slay, learn from Bradbury, not just on the field, but he speaks about off the field. And I think that's the right mentality to have. He's coming in. It's no wonder that Howie thought that this would be a good fit, because the culture of this team is centered around Jalen Hurts. And that, to me, everything that Grady's saying there fits perfectly with this defense. Also, you see the smile on his face talking about coach or playing with Desai, being coached by him. A thumbs up for that. I think this is going to be a good defense. Maybe not quite what it was last year. We'll have to see, but there's still a lot of pieces that will be added. But I think people are starting to sleep, or maybe sleeping already, on the fact that this defense will be better than what I think most of us expect it to. So thumbs up for Grady. Love the interview, all the extra insight there. Some question that I've started seeing floating around on social media, as well as being texted about, is, hey, Howie Roseman's making all these mistakes. You guys are going back to what happened after the 2017 season. And I think we all remember what happened, and I tried to forget it, maybe most of us have, that Howie's admitted that we got too old, we got too slow very quickly. He signed back too many, quite honestly, veterans and older players that had shown decline, and that's what cost us. In the years to come, we're not able to repeat. So then the question became, is that what Howie's doing again? And there's an article here by NBC Sports, did Howie Roseman bring back too many old guys? And here it says, quote, Howie Roseman has spoken often about the mistakes he made after the 2017 Super Bowl season, trying to keep that aging roster together for too long before the franchise bottomed out in 2020. He's spoken about the importance of not making roster decisions based on emotion, about not keeping players around too long because they're great people and all-time Eagles, about not running it back with aging veterans at the expense of promising young players, and here we are. Taken individually, new contracts for Jason Kelce, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Darius Slay, James Bradbury all made sense. Taken as a whole, it's a concern. Kelce's 35, BG 34, Cox and Slay 32, Bradbury will be 30 on opening day. Those 5 players combined will earn more than, I think they didn't have it in here, $1 million in 2023. We don't have all the exact contract breakdowns yet, and that's exactly what Roseman said he wanted to avoid. And while re-signing a restructured 5 players in their 30s or about to be, Roseman let 4 of the team's 6 youngest defensive starters leave: 25-year-old Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, 26-year-old Kazir White, TJ Edwards, and Marcus Epps. Average age of players the Eagles lost to other teams, 27.5. Average age of players the Eagles signed, 31.4. The article goes on to mention, I do recommend that you read it because it talks about Kelce, obviously BG, Cox, the signings there, and talking about whether they were declining and what the difference was. And here's the argument that I'll make. It's a fair point to bring up that, yes, you're signing back these veteran players, but these are vocal leaders in your locker room. And you could argue, yes, the ones that Howie signed back in 2017 were much the same. But the difference here is the play level, the level of BG and Jason Kelce for sure. And then you could say Bradbury as well. Those 3, no question, it's an automatic re-sign. They didn't show any signs of decline. And you're not asking BG to come back and play, like we've said, every single down. So those 3 are fantastic. Now, Fletcher Cox, I could give you a little bit of pass on. That to me was not an A signing. I will say it was still probably like a B minus. It's a good deal, and Fletcher wanted to take a deal, so that's worth it. But we'll have to see how that one plays out. And then for Slay, yes, you could say for the first half of the season, he played fantastic, maybe showed some declines. That's another area that it's a possibility, but I think, again, with what we see on this team and the depth of this team, the signings that have already been made, we just talked about Greedy, but also Justin Evans, I think that plus the draft and the equity you have there, the extra comp picks and everything over the next couple of years is going to be invaluable to have this experience, because in 2017, the difference was we didn't have 12 draft picks coming for the following season, whereas now in 2024, we will. It's still a question mark, and we'll have to see if Howie learned from his mistakes ultimately, but I think that this is a little bit overkill and an extreme overreaction. Curious to know what you guys think, though. Has Howie made a mistake? Let me know in the comments below. Have we signed too many old players? Speaking of free agency, though, CBS Sports just released their latest grades for teams in free agency. And so I thought it was interesting because you take a look at this and they list the Dallas Cowboys at grade A. Now, Cowboys come up first in this article. It's by alphabetical order, but I did want to see, because I think all of us know realistically the Cowboys are probably the top competition in the division. Yes, the Giants made the playoffs, but I don't still think that they're right there. The Commanders, who knows exactly what's going on. So the Cowboys being the top competition, what grade did they get? They got an A, and it says key additions, Stephon Gilmore and Brandon Cooks. Key re-signings, Donovan Wilson, Leighton Vander Esch, Tyron Smith, and Cooper Rush. There's been some more speculation and rumors and some other signings that the Cowboys have done, but you got to give credit where credit is due, and they have had a pretty good free agency signing period. The question still becomes, are they legitimately going to threaten the division? While I'll say that they are a very good team and they're definitely the top competition, they have Dak Prescott, and I think that's all that you really need to say. He has shown time and time again that, yes, he can play at a very high level, but at the extreme importance of a game that is a must-win, even if they were to somehow win the division, he's not someone that you're going to ride through the playoffs. We've seen it too often. Dak Prescott does not win playoff games on a consistent basis, and you've seen it all throughout his career. But then it got me thinking, okay, so let's see where the Philadelphia Eagles are. So if you go further down in this article, it says Philadelphia Eagles graded B. So a B, they get a B grade. Key additions, Rashad Penny, Marcus Mariota, Greedy Williams. It didn't add here yet, but Justin Evans. But then the key re-signings, Jason Kelce, Brandon Graham, James Bradbury, Fletcher Cox, Boston Scott, and Darius Slay. So a lot of the same guys that we just mentioned. It talks about here in the article, it's kind of the same types of process or the thought process on it. Obviously, you're re-signing some veterans, but there's a couple question marks, and Fletcher Cox is one of the main ones. When you take all it into account, it's not a home run type of signing in free agency, and they do give a lot of credence for the fact that you lost Javon Hargrave, you lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and you've got some question marks with some of the other most recent signings. But I think, again, this is probably good. Let's fly under the radar, because as we've seen, a lot of times the media discredits and discounts the Eagles, and they'll give a lot more stock to what are the Cowboys doing, because they're America's team, and everyone wants to jump on that bandwagon immediately. But I think this is a good thing. If you look at it ultimately, let's not have everyone thinking, oh, the Eagles are going to repeat. It's going to be a done deal. It's a for sure thing. Let's fly under the radar. We love the underdog mentality. So let's just live in it. They can think that it's a B grade, but there's still other signings to come. Howie's already said he's not done, so we'll see what he does there. And then the draft. Let's not forget about that. So curious to know what you guys think, though. Again, let me know in the comments below. Should we be scared about Dallas? Are they a legit contender? Another quick mention that I wanted to make, obviously with free agency news, there was some speculation. Yes, the Eagles had signed Justin Evans, but they weren't done at safety. Jalen Mills was a name that kept popping up. I did a show about him a couple days ago, so you can go check that out. But there's official news that will not happen, because according to Adam Schefter, free agent Jalen Mills is staying with the Patriots on a revised one-year deal worth up to $6.1 million per source. The deal was negotiated and confirmed by Drew Rosenhaus and Robert Bailey. So you see it there. I think this is a good sign or a good deal, in my opinion. I didn't want Jalen Mills back. I know that he's the Green Goblin. I have much respect for him, love what he did in 2017 and when he was here, but I think there's other options, and we'll have to see how he goes ultimately from here. But you're not going to re-sign him, especially that he got a $6.1 million per deal. With the deals that have already been done, that's pretty close. I mean, it's still, almost $2 million away, but it's pretty close to a deal of C.J. Gardner-Johnson. So if Howie was not willing to do that, I don't think that he would have signed Jalen Mills for $6.1 million. But was that a mistake? Did Howie miss out on Jalen Mills? Let me know in the comments below. All right, lastly, there was some news late yesterday that came out, but Eagles are reportedly adding another assistant to the coaching staff. So take a look at this. This is from Bleeding Green Nation by Brandon Lee Gouton. It says Eagles reportedly add another assistant to Nick Sirianni's coaching staff, and that person is Eastern Michigan defensive pass coordinator, safeties coach Taver Johnson or Taver Johnson. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. If you guys know, let me know in the comments. But to Nick Sirianni's coaching staff, according to Matt Zenitz of On3. And it says it's unclear what position Johnson will hold in Philly based on his track record. One would guess it's related to coaching defensive backs in some capacity. Safeties coach, cornerbacks coach, defensive backs coach, defensive passing game coordinator. One of those, maybe none, but it'll be interesting to see. And you kind of take a look here. He's got 30 years of experience. You see he's coached at many different areas, college and the NFL. A bunch of different type of roles. It's a curious signing to me, and you can take a look through the article. They do a good job of kind of going through some of the more details, but quite honestly, this is a name that I'm not really familiar with. So I had to kind of go looking it up, and on Twitter, DeBird's blog does a great job of a lot of different content, but I'm really getting this from him. You see here, it's worth pointing out that free agent safety Jonathan Abram was drafted by Raiders when Taver Johnson was the assistant DB's coach. Abram was also in Seattle with Sean Desai last season. I wonder if Philadelphia could target Abram as another safety addition. Maybe you sign Taver Johnson or add him to the staff to possibly get a guy like Abram. But also you see here too, it says it's worth noting that Taver coached last season at Eastern Michigan, which we saw from the article. Eagles have also reportedly shown a lot of interest in Eastern Michigan edge rusher Jose Ramirez. Where there is smoke, there is fire. So it's speculation. We're not quite sure. It is a very relationship-driven business, as we've said many times. So perhaps it's a hire where you say, you know what, he's got some connections, maybe some insights, some guys we might like to target. But he does have a 30-year career, and so that speaks for itself for him to be able to stay in the game for this long. He's obviously not a terrible coach, and there's some ties. He used to be in Temple. Hopefully he's got that same passion and fire. I would expect he only has to, because Nick Sirianni pretty much only signs those types of guys to his staff. But we'll have to see how this plays out. I think thumbs up for the signing. Good to see something done. There's more news that we'll get obviously on the coaching staff and keep you up to date with all the latest free agencies. A reminder again, be sure to tune in tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern with Thomas Mott, the live show, the Wednesday link. Make sure to like and subscribe as always. Until next time, I'm Josh Davis, and this has been the Philly Special.